Hi everyone! Thank you so much for joining me here. Today I want to talk about a concept called oneness. Oneness is the idea that you are others. What other people think, what other people feel is reflected by what you think and feel because we are all the same, and what we want for ourselves, we should want for other people as well. Oneness helps govern our social interactions, and it really helps kind of filter through decisions that we make in life, whether to do something or not to do something, how to read in between the lines with people, and it helps us manifest our goals and dreams in life. I'll give you a lot of personal examples and a lot of business examples because I find that a lot of the concepts kind of cross between them and it works for both. To illustrate my examples, I'm going to be using the 3 pillars that I talked about in my Law of Attraction video, such as money, the self, and the community. Okay, so with money, that's a very touchy subject. And you'll find that in oneness, what your views are on money, how you make money, numbers, and your possession is to be shared and to help other people understand how to get these items for themselves. It's not meant to be kept a secret. It's not meant to be bragging rights. It's meant to be shared as a tool. And how oneness is illustrated through this is if you were this other person, and if you knew this, would you want the other person to know? Would it help their lives in advancing whatever goals that they're looking to achieve? So a story I have, I was talking to a friend a few months ago, and I was telling him about, the items I bought, the business ventures I'm doing, how much things cost, and he told me he was taken back a little bit by it. And I was like, oh, why? How come? And he was saying that in his friendship circle, money is not talked about or shared openly because it's more of a hush-hush thing. You'll do what you do and you just get what you get, and you don't tell other people because you're scared that it would make them feel bad. And I thought, geez, that's such a funny concept because with a lot of our friends, especially our business friends, we free flow talk about money. Without talking about it, we don't know how to advance ourselves. And the information they give me is so valuable that if I didn't ask them numbers and if they didn't share it and vice versa, we would be doing a lot of things wrong. So I thought that was really different. And I tried to explain that to him. And he did see my perspective, but it was hard for him to fully understand because that's not what he's been taught. And something else I noticed is when there's a bunch of people who are more financially successful and they get together, they talk about money like it is water. Just so much transferring of information. There's no filter, no anything. But then when you get somebody that comes into the group that is uncomfortable with talking about money, the conversation changes. It's like this unspoken energy that spreads across the table that, hey, we're no longer going to talk about money. And when I watch this, I find it very unfortunate that a lot of people don't view money like that or have that conversation more often because it is really hard to progress. Like, money is a hard topic to understand, and without talking about it with people that know how to utilize money, how do you know how to use it? It's like the blind leading the blind if you're asking other people that don't know how to make money or use it. Having more knowledge is always power. And I find when it comes to money, people really limit that knowledge. And where the ego comes into this is a lot of people don't like to share how much they make or how much they spend on things because I find that people feel like they are personally being exposed, or they feel like they're not good enough if they share that, oh, I only make this much in comparison to someone else. But the truth is, it's simply not true. If you share that you're struggling and if you're sharing that you want more information, then you might be able to tell somebody this information and that person might be able to help you. But without sharing what you want, how can anybody ever help you? It's like some big secret and people are just not going to invest their time to dig it out of you. It's much easier and better just to be like, hey, I want to make this more money. Hey, how did you make that? Then that person will just share it with you because that's oneness. You want to share the information you have with other people so that you can help them because the world is very abundant and it's not scarce. So how do you use this as a tool in your life to signify how to spend your energy? If you ask for help and somebody's not giving help, you kind of know that maybe they don't want to help you. Maybe they're not in a position to help you. Maybe they feel uncomfortable with that topic. And yeah, I know it doesn't feel that great, but try to not take it personally. I know it's easier said than done, but a lot of times those people, they must have gone through something in their life that makes them be very protective of themselves. It's more of their ego thing than your thing. And so if you encounter these people that do not want to share with you, don't take it personally. Just know that maybe your paths are not crossing right now. And maybe in the future, when they are in the same position or in a position to help you, then they will share this information with you. But don't hold it against them and don't take it personally, because they're not meaning to hurt you. They're just trying to protect themselves. And when we do find that someone is willing and open to sharing this information, you know that, hey, maybe I should spend more time with this person. Maybe I should ask this person more for help because they're very nice and they're willing to share this type of information. And when people are willing to share, that's what makes the world go round. How else have we evolved as a civilization and culture and world? It's because people share information. YouTube, because people share information. We have technology and medicine because of it. It's not like some of us still live in the dark ages. Everyone can live in the here and now. It's abundant. It's for everybody. And the more information you share, the more you will push yourself up and others around you. And I find that a lot of times when I am talking to other people about numbers, sometimes collaborate in new projects. It's really a beautiful thing. In oneness, there is no separation of the self, and there should be no judgment when it comes to finances. And we use money as a tool to help other people get to where they want to go, and for us to get information on where we need to go. And when you're talking about money to the right person, they can help you, and they can help change your perspective of it. So my second pillar is the self. The self is us, us as a person and individual. And I'm going to show you how oneness applies to the self. And I'm going to use personal relationships as a way to illustrate oneness and how it is mirrored and reflected back at us by the close people around us. The first concept, which we all have heard, is treat others the way we want to be treated. This is such an important concept because it is so true in all the important relationships in your life. If we don't treat others the way we want to be treated, how would they know how we want to be treated? And you want to make the other person feel good, because why not, right? If you care about them, you would. So I'll give you guys some examples of this. We were visiting my friend's little cousins, and one of them is having issues with her boyfriend, and she wanted to ask me some advice. And she tells me, okay, so I just had a birthday and my boyfriend really didn't do very much for me to make me feel special. I expected him to do more for me. Maybe I should break up with him because he clearly doesn't love me by not doing anything for me. So after she tells me about her problem, I ask her, well, what do you do for him if you want him to do all this for you? And she says, I don't do anything for him. And I'm like, okay, but you want him to give you a 3-day celebration for your birthday. You want him to buy you all this stuff, but you don't do anything for him. And then she goes, well, I don't do anything for him because I want him to prove his love to me first. And then I go, well, I see where you're coming from, but it's a little harder to get what you want when you see life like that. So I told her how my view on relationships is. When I date someone, I don't wait for them to prove their love for me or how great they are of a guy. I try to prove to them what a great girlfriend I can be. For example, I'll be the first to get gifts. I'll be the first to do things for them, to show them how special they are. Because if I do that, I know that if they really care about me, they will reciprocate these amazing gestures because they too would want me to feel good about myself. And when I told her this, and she was like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that before. And I was like, yeah, if you don't do things for him, how do you expect him to just do things for you? And let's say you do meet a guy and he is doing a lot of stuff for you in the beginning. How long is that gonna last if you're not doing anything back? A relationship is a two-way street. What you do for them and what they do for you is what drives the relationship forward is not one person carrying the other. They can get dumped really fast when that happens. They're gonna find someone else that's gonna treat them better. So mirror in your relationship what you're wanting and hoping. And if they mirror it back to you, then you know you have a great relationship. So the ego a lot of times prevents us from giving our relationship all that we can, because the ego is sitting there and saying, no, you have to prove to me that you love me before I give anything to you. But that's not really fair, because what if the guy's thinking the same thing? Then you're just in a doomed relationship because no one's going to do anything for each other. Why not be the person that's going to give it your all? And then if the guy is still not reciprocating, then right? And the second part to this is, if you do have issues in your relationships, talk about it. If you and your partner are basically halves of a whole, then the truth is, whatever you're feeling, he can pick up on. And whatever he's feeling or thinking, you also pick up on. I have a good example of this. The other week, I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me of these issues she had with her boyfriend and how he wasn't there for her and listening to her problems the way she wanted him to listen to her problems. And I asked her, well, have you talked to him about this? She goes, no, I haven't. And I was like, well, why don't you talk to him about how you feel? And she tells me, well, I want to tell him, but I'm afraid if I tell him, it will hurt him. Maybe that's true, but let me give you another scenario. If the roles were flipped and if he had a problem with her, she would want him to talk to her about it, because that's clearly not her intention, because she loves him. She wants to help him with his problems, but maybe she just didn't know that he wanted even more from her. And she's like, yeah, I would want him to tell me so I could explain it to him. So then I tell her, if you feel that way, do you think he might feel that way too if given this option? And she's like, yeah, he probably would want me to talk to him about it. Because if you feel this way and you don't talk to him about it and you keep withdrawing, chances are he's going to pick up on that and wonder what's wrong. And if you continue to not communicate your feeling, there's going to be a slow rift between you guys, and things could get worse because no one is resolving anything, nor would he even know how to resolve, because he didn't even know the problem existed in the first place. So I told her the best way to deal with this is to talk to him about how she feels from a non-accusatory point of view. Meaning, when you do talk to him, tell him that, you're feeling this way. And when you talk to him, this is what you want from him. You know that he's not doing on purpose, and that by telling him this, you're hoping to have a stronger communication between the two of you. And that if you want to produce oneness, you want to tell him what's bothering you, to give him the opportunity to correct it. So that way you guys are both on the same page. So how does the ego play into this? Well, what the ego does is it prevents us from telling our partners how we feel out of fear of judgment, because we don't want them to judge our thinking. Like, maybe you're scared that they'll think you're a bad person, that why would she think this of me? No, that's just the ego. If they really love you and you tell them how you feel, they'll want to fix it. And together you guys can fix it and have a better understanding of each other. So how does oneness in relationships show us who is good and who is bad? Well, what it does is, if you do tell people how you feel in a non-judgmental, accusatory way, and if they've responded in a good way and they understand, then that shows oneness. And that really shows that maybe I should be with this person. And how this is applied in business, which we can use in our daily lives, is, let's say there's a company and a employee is not performing to the level that the company expects. So what happens? The manager observes, they take down notes, and then when it's time for assessments, they sit down with the employee and explain to them, okay, I really like that you did this, but these are the areas that you're weak in. Let's work together on bringing your confidence or your skill sets higher, so that way you can help the company grow better and that you'll have better skill sets. And this is done all the time with business. How many times have we had assessments done? All the time. And we don't take it personally. Well, we hope not, because that dictates our raises, whether we get fired or laid off. Same with relationships. It's that important. So my third pillar is the community. So how will oneness help the community? So I have an example to share with this example. So the other day, a friend of mine confided to me that 2 years ago, when I was telling her how I was taking my 3-month trip, and on my trip, I was planning on making a bunch of travel videos because that was something I was very into and I wanted to learn and do more of. And she told me that when I told her that, I guess she felt a little bit uneasy. And because she felt that way, she was really quiet when I was telling her about my excitement. And I commended her for being so honest with me because it takes a lot to be very open about feelings of negativity. And I told her, if you had just told me how you felt, the outcome would have been very different. Or instead of harboring feelings of separation like that, of me being able to go do this thing and you not being able to, why don't you take it from a different perspective? And even though you're not physically doing it, become me and live it through me. And she was a little bit confused by that. So I gave her an example. Instead of feeling separated and, being quiet and withdrawn towards my excitement, what if you were like, oh, that sounds like fun. If that was me, I know I'm not going, but if I was to go, I would want to go to these places, make these type of videos. Oh, it'd be so exciting. And if you share that with me, it'd make me excited. First, I'd be like, oh, those are great ideas. And second, you're sharing in my excitement. And when 2 plus 2 in happy energy levels unite, it's like a 10 in energy vibrations. And I told him, like, if you said that to me, maybe somewhere along the line, I might have been like, I should bring her with me on this trip, or I would collaborate with her on another trip, or something where I would want to take her with me because now I know that this is also what she wants. Because she never shared her wants and desires with me, I had no idea. So I went 2 years without ever referencing her or thinking about, maybe she would have wanted this too. And if she had told me, things could have been very different for both me and her. So I practiced it with her. I told her, okay, I'm planning on now sharing a lot of my life stories and spiritual beliefs and business beliefs with people on YouTube. And I asked her, how do you feel about that? And she goes, oh, well, I hope you have 1 million subscribers. And I was like, okay, I guess so. And I'm like, but again, you're separating me from you. Instead of wishing I had 1 million subscribers, which is not my end goal. My end goal is to create amazing videos that will help people. Why don't you try becoming me and just be me and how it would feel to make these videos and to help people. So I asked her to become me. And when she became me, she came up with all these amazing videos. Her energy and excitement level rose and I became excited for her. And I told her, you know what, maybe we'll make some videos together because I think you have a lot to share with people and I want to share the space with you. Things are not done by themselves. Things are done together with other people. So by sharing oneness with the community, you not only get better visualization, better collaboration, but also better opportunities and higher vibrational energy. So that way your ability to attract and manifest is increased by 10-fold by every person. And in business, this is a very important step. Do you ever see very successful companies that have like 1 employee? No. Big organizations, successful organizations have a bunch of employees that work together to build up this company. And because of all their collective energies and efforts, that's what makes the company successful. And if we're able to illustrate oneness within our lives by sharing all of our different experiences, by including the people around us, we will get better. We will explode. We will have that boost in our lives that we need. And that is how oneness, when practiced on a community level, can help everybody. When you do practice oneness, a really important thing to note is that you shouldn't expect things from other people. And when you're giving, what you want to do is try to have your happy feelings be your reward. If someone doesn't reciprocate, it's okay. Because whatever you did, you should want to do it out of the goodness of your heart and not because you're expecting something from anybody else. That's a really, really important concept. yeah, so let me know if there's any topics you want me to expand on. I would love to also answer any questions you guys have as well. Okay, until next time, see you soon.